So go ahead and come, if you have a mat, you can use your mat. I just like to use my carpet, so I will be rotating so you can see me. But come to your mat or your carpet or wherever you find yourself and just find a comfortable sitting position. You can go ahead and maybe roll your shoulders back a few times. And taking some deep breaths here. Inhaling through the nose. And we'll exhale through the mouth for the first 2 breaths. Inhaling deeply into the low belly. And exhale through your mouth. Continue to keep the breath nice and deep, inhaling all the way into the root of your spine, feeling that low belly expand. But now exhale through the nose, keeping the lips gently sealed. As we continue to breathe here, just focus on the sensation of your breath. Maybe the way it feels entering and exiting your nostrils. Or maybe the way your chest feels expanding and contracting. And on your inhale, imagine that someone is pulling the crown of your head towards the ceiling, and at the same time, your sacrum is being pulled heavy towards the ground. So finding length and space in your spine here. Finding more length with every inhale, and maintaining that with every exhale. Take a moment here to cultivate an intention for your practice today. Since the theme of this is a gentle gratitude flow, I would invite that attention, or intention I should say, to be something revolving around gratitude, maybe gratitude for a specific person in your life, gratitude for yourself, for your body, for the day and sunlight you might be seeing outside right now. But whatever it is, just plant that seed of intentionality that will grow throughout this practice. We'll slowly start to open our eyes. Once again, keeping the spine long. We'll start with just a seated twist here. So we're going to inhale, lengthen. Exhale, planting our palm, left palm on the right knee. Twisting towards the right. Our right hand can be placed behind us. Just gently exhaling into a little twist here. Nothing too serious. With every inhale, we lengthen. And with every exhale, we twist a little deeper. Exhale, release. Taking an inhale, and we're going to twist towards the left. So right hand connects with left knee. Gently twisting towards the left shoulder, gazing towards the back of the room. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist a little bit deeper. Hold for your inhale. And exhale, slowly relax. So we can roll over our feet to come into a tabletop position here. Setting up our hands so they're underneath our shoulders, our knees so they're underneath our hips. And we're going to keep connected to the breath here, taking a few rounds of cat-cow. So we inhale, drop the belly, lift the crown of the head and the sacrum. Exhale, arch the spine into cat, pushing the space between the shoulder blades towards the ceiling as we squeeze our head and our hips towards each other. And just flow between these two postures at your own breath, feeling the articulation of each vertebrae of the spine, Maybe imagining a little pulse of electricity traveling down your spine as you articulate it. And you can wiggle a little bit side to side here if you want to take a little disco kitty, so you can make some body rolls, but we're keeping the fundamental arching and belly dropping motion the same here. So just breathe into it and find what feels good to you. Remember that this is your practice, and I'm just merely giving you some suggestions for things that might feel good to your body, but you are the ultimate judge of those things and can decide whatever you feel today. We're going to come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to kick our left leg behind us, parallel to the ground, and we're going to extend our right arm out in front of us. So just a little core activation here. Hug the navel into the spine to stabilize. You can dig your left fingertips into the ground a little bit here to activate that wrist. We're going to inhale, extend, reaching the fingers front and toes towards the back. And exhale, bring our elbow to our knee. Inhale, extending. Exhale, bringing the elbow to the knee. One more round here. Each time feeling like someone's pulling your hand and foot in opposite directions. Exhale, extend. Inhale, reaching out. And exhale, we can connect our right hand to the left knee, or to the left foot, sorry, knee would be pretty impressive. Opening the chest to the right, pushing through that back leg to keep our chest high. You can gaze over that right shoulder if you'd like. Once again, keeping that core engaged. We'll exhale, bring our arm and leg parallel to the ground, and replace them down on the floor, coming through tabletop. We'll extend that right leg long, shoring up the core, bringing the navel to the spine before we lift the left arm. Whenever you're ready, lifting it, swinging it parallel, finding stability here. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, bring your knee into your elbow. Taking this 2 more times at your own breath. We're going to meet in this full extended posture here, left arm forward, right leg back. And we can connect the left hand to the right foot, pushing through the right leg, opening our chest towards the left. Exhale, slowly releasing, bringing your arm and leg back to parallel before replacing them on the ground. So we're going to tuck our toes, and we're going to push our knees off the ground, coming to the first downward dog of our practice. So gently just pedaling it out, pressing your heels into the ground, maybe alternating one leg than the other. We're going to keep our hands shoulder distance apart, externally rotating our arms, creating space between our shoulders and our ears. Our eyes are going to gaze towards our navel, ears in line with the biceps. And inhaling, bringing your breath to loosen the backs of your legs. Releasing any tension you might be building up here with an exhale. On our next exhale, we're going to bend our knees and just create as flat of a back as we can. And then we're going to press our heels back into the ground. So we'll bend our legs with our breath, opening the spine, and then pressing our heels back into the ground, finding straight legs. Take 2 more rounds of this, bending, and feel how it feels. So maybe almost arch your upper and mid back. And exhale to straighten your legs. Then one more round here. And we'll meet in downward dog. And we'll slowly walk our feet in towards our hands until we're in a forward fold. You can wrap your hands around opposite elbows here and just hang into a ragdoll pose. Relaxing your neck, maybe shaking it yes, nodding it no to make sure we're not building up any tension here. And just breathing. Maybe taking a minute to revisit your intention for the day. Taking some time to send a little extra gratitude, maybe towards your legs for holding you up, or your floor for maintaining its solidness and support underneath you. We're going to place our hands on the ground or our shins, inhaling into a flat back position. And exhale back down into forward fold. And our next inhale, we're going to roll the spine up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. You can take a slight bend in the knees here. And we'll meet in mountain pose, so standing at the, you can be standing at the front of your mat. I'm standing back here because I'm so tall. And we're going to inhale, reach our arms up towards the sky. Exhale, slowly diving forward into a forward fold. Inhale, coming up to a flat back. And exhale, walking your feet back into a high plank position. Breathing here. Taking a moment to tuck your hips towards the floor, taking any arch out of that low back. Actively pushing forward on your big toe mound so we're not, our heels are over our big toes, if not in front of them. And take some time to engage your fingers and your wrists here, pretending like you're opening 2 jars in the ground. If this is too intense for you, you can come down to your knees. But wherever you are, we want to keep that navel hugged into the spine, like someone's taking an ice cream scooper and sort of scooping out our abdominals. That's what we want it to feel like. On our next exhale, we'll come lying on the mat. Pressing our big toe mounds into the ground. Inhale to rise into a low cobra. You can keep your hands on the ground or lift them up for a little extra challenge. Inhale to hold. Exhale to release. On our next inhale, we'll place our hands under our shoulders, pushing up into a little bit higher of a cobra. Not necessarily straightening our arms all the way here. This is our first real back bend of the day. But keeping our hips pressed into the ground. So if your hips start to drift up, then maybe bend your arms a little bit more. Make sure your shoulder blades are dropping down your back here, maintaining that space between your ears and your shoulders. Inhale to hold. Exhale to release. You can come for a little challenge here. Inhale, pressing back up into high plank, and meeting in downward dog. So that press up to high plank is optional. You can always roll through your child's pose, pressing your hips back to your heels, and then pressing through your legs to come up into a downward facing dog. We're going to walk our hands in towards our feet at the top of our mats. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, swooping our arms up towards the ceiling to rise. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, coming into a forward fold. And in this forward fold, we're going to plant our left hand in front of our left foot, bending the left leg, reaching the right arm towards the ceiling for a little bit of a twist here. Maybe seeing if you can shift your hips a little bit to the right to add some extra sensation down the back of that right leg. Seeing if you can stack your right elbow on top of your right shoulder, on top of your left shoulder, on top of your left wrist. So one straight line. Breathing here, finding length in your spine, and exhale to make this twist a little bit deeper. Exhale, bringing our right palm towards the ground. Inhale, bending our right leg. Bring our left arm towards the ground, taking this twist in the opposite direction. Maybe gazing up towards that top left hand. Exhale, bringing both your palms towards the mat. Planting them on the ground as we walk our feet back into a high plank position. Hold this high plank as we inhale. And exhale, bring our bodies down to the ground. Inhale, lifting for this low cobra position. Exhale, you can bring your body down to the ground. Inhale, lift for high cobra. Exhale, back down to the ground and either press through child's pose or high plank. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Pedaling it out here, pressing your heels into the ground. We're going to send our right leg up just a little bit, not too much here. What we really want to focus on is keeping our hips squared towards the ground and our toes on the right foot all pointed towards the floor. So if you can lift that up higher, great, but as soon as we start to feel that hip open, that's when we want to bring the foot down and keep all of our toes pointed towards the ground. We're going to exhale, swing this foot in between our hands, and come into a pyramid pose. So our feet are only about 3 feet apart, like we're standing on train tracks here. So there's about a foot or a fist or two in between the tracks. We're going to inhale into flat back, exhale, stretching over that front right leg. Imagine your chin reaching for your shin, or maybe it does connect, but if it doesn't connect, imagine it reaching for it so you maintain the length in your spine. You can bring your hands in front of you if you want. Maybe make a goalpost and place them in front of that right foot. All the while hugging the right femur into the hip socket and bringing that hip socket in line with the left. So really keeping our hips squared here. Breathing into the tension of that back or that front hamstring. And maybe you might feel some tension in your left calf as well, and breathing into that. We're going to walk our hands over towards the right side of our mat. So we're walking our hands to the outside of this right foot. And we're going to twist and slowly bring our butt towards the floor, coming into shoelace. So I'm sitting in between my heels, my left leg is on the ground, and my right knee is stacked on top of the left. So you can push into your arches of your feet here, maybe adjust your butt a little bit. And so I'm sitting in between my feet for this shoelace position. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, finding length, leaning forward. I like to imagine my chin reaching for the ground, although it will never make it there because it's physically impossible. But imagine your chin reaching beyond your knees. Don't just curl over to your knees, but keep that spine long. Breathing here. Slowly inhaling to rise. We're going to grab this right knee. We're going to hug it into our chest a little bit here. Maybe feeling this stretch through the right hip or the right glute. And we're going to unwind the left foot, straightening out in front of us. And as we straighten it out in front of us, we're going to bring our right leg back to the same shoelace position. So we're in half shoelace here. So maybe readjust if you want. I'm going to check and see, okay, my knees are pretty much stacked on top of each other. That's what we want. Even if they're really far apart, that's also totally fine. We're going to inhale, lengthen the spine here. And exhale, stretch over that left leg now. Embracing this new sensation that might be slightly more intense depending on where you hold your tension. For me, I really feel this in my left calf, especially if I pull down on the left ball of the foot, pulling it towards me. Once again, imagine your chin extending beyond your right knee, keeping the spine long. Breathing here, maybe putting a little smile on your face, tapping into a little bit of that ease, which is possible in these poses. Exhale to sink a little bit deeper. Inhale, pat yourself on the back, maybe only in your mind, because you're doing a great job, and wherever you are is wherever you need to be today. And with our next inhale, we're going to use our hands to help us walk back up to a sitting position here. And we're going to plant our hands on the outside and inside of our right foot, so we're framing the foot. And then we're going to use our legs to come back up into that pyramid pose. So a little bit of a difficult transition there, so take your time, or if you need to just stand up and come back in pyramid, that's also totally fine. So we're going to step this back leg a little bit further back, coming into a runner's lunge here. So my hands are still framed on either side of this front foot. I'm going to drop that back knee, untuck the back toes, and push up on the knee to come to sitting here. So I'm dropping my hips forward and down, and I'm making sure my knee is not passing my ankle here. So I like to walk my foot out a little bit more because it helps my hips sink a little bit deeper and ensures that my knee is going to stay in proper position here. Inhale here, feeling your breath travel to that left hip flexor as it relaxes and allows your body to continue to sink forward and down. Keeping your core engaged here. Engagement of the core here is necessary to keep the hip flexors stabilized. So with our core engagement here, if we want a little extra stretch, we can interlace our hands, placing them on the top of our right quad and pushing back for a tiny little back bend here, opening our chest towards the ceiling, continuing to drop our hips towards the floor. Once again, maintaining that core engagement. And slowly bring your hands back towards the mat. Exhaling, pushing forward on your hands to bring your hips back. Stretching over that front leg in this half split position here. Once again, really pulling this back hip in line with the right. Reaching your chin to your shin. Inhale, coming back forward. We're going to walk both of our hands to the inside of our right leg, coming into lizard pose here, so you can keep that back knee on the ground, or you can lift that back knee. I get a little bit more stretch when I lift the back knee. Sinking your hips here, feeling the stretch through the back of this right hamstring and hip. And from here, you can either step it directly back into high plank or take a little challenge, keeping this right leg connected to the right tricep. And hold here for a breath before sending it back into our high plank position. And we can exhale, bring our chest towards the ground. Inhale for mini cobra. Exhale, bring our chest back to the ground. Inhale, pushing back up for high cobra. Squeezing our heels towards each other still here, engaging the glutes. Exhale, pressing down. And then you can either take that high plank to down dog, or this time I'll take the child's pose. And then press up from child's pose into downward facing dog. So we're going to take three-legged dog on the left side, same as we did that right side, which feels like a while ago now. So we're going to lift our left leg as high as we can without our toes starting to drift towards the side or that hip open. We're going to keep the toes pointed towards the ground, hip squared towards the earth. And we're going to swing that leg through about 3 feet in front of the right leg, separating the feet by about a fist distance, like we're standing on train tracks. And exhale, stretching forward into this pyramid pose, reaching our chin towards our shin. Using your breath here, finding any areas of tension that you don't need, and letting go. Continue maintaining that length in your spine, reaching your chin towards your shin, bringing that left femur, connecting it with the left hip socket, bringing the left hip socket in line with the right hip socket. You can make those goal posts in front of that left foot if you want, or you can always bring your hands back, which is a little harder to balance. And wherever you are, we're going to walk our hands to the outside of the left foot. And we're going to bend our knees, dropping down into shoelace. So we're going to sit in between our feet, our knees stacked on top of each other. So this time our left knee is stacked on top of our right. I'm going to push through my arches of my feet here, giving them a little massage, and also just wiggling my sits bones closer to the ground. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to stretch forward and down, reaching your chin towards the earth, maintaining a long spine here. Using your breath to flow to wherever you need it. And wherever it travels, let it loosen the tension that it finds. Make sure you're not holding any tension in your jaw or your shoulders. Maybe finding that smile again. Tapping into that gratitude. Maybe finding something different right now to be grateful for. Could be birds you hear outside your window. The fact that maybe you could sleep in a little bit extra today. Or you had something that you had to get out of bed for, which could also be something to be grateful for. And we're slowly going to inhale, coming back up to sitting. We're going to hug this left leg into the chest. And we're going to lean back to straighten our right leg out in front of us. And we're going to come back into half shoelace with this left leg in the exact same position it was before. So it's stacked over the right leg. You can adjust it if need be. We're going to inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, maintain that length as we lean forward. And if we want a little added stretch in the calf here, we can grab the ball of the foot, bringing it towards our face as we try and bring this elbow towards the ground. Maintaining your length in the spine here. Using your breath. Deep inhale here. Exhale, sink forward a little bit more. And inhale to rise all the way back up. We're going to plant our hands on either side of this left foot, and we're going to rise all the way back up into our pyramid pose here. Lifting that back right leg up to step it back into a runner's lunge position. Just taking a moment here to find strong legs, maybe pushing through that back foot, feeling how that quad engagement changes the stretch, imagining pulling your patella up towards your hips, and placing that back leg down, untucking the toes. And we can place our hands on the top of this left quad, coming up to sit here, imagining our hips sinking forward and down, stretching out the right hip flexor. Once again, keeping that core engaged. Using your breath. And if you took the back bend variation on the other side, take it here again. So press through that left hip to create a little arch in your upper spine, opening your chest towards the ceiling. And continue to sink lower in your hips. On your next exhale, releasing your hands towards the ground. And flowing back into this half split position. Squeezing or pulling this left hip in line with the right as we reach our chin towards our shin here. Maintaining that length in your spine. Slowly coming back up into this lunge position. We're going to come into lizard by bringing both of our hands to the inside of the left foot. Continuing to drop these hips towards the ground. You can keep that back knee on the earth if you want, or bring it off the earth. And you can either step it back directly to high plank, or like we did on the other side, glue this left knee into the left tricep, bring the foot off the ground to hold for 3, 2, 1, and step it back into high plank. Exhale, bring your belly towards the ground. Inhale, taking this low cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, high cobra. Exhale, release. We're going to stay on our bellies here. So we're going to point our toes towards the ceiling, and we're going to reach our arms back to connect with our ankles. So we're in this pose, connected, hands connected with ankles, and we're going to inhale to rise into bow, pressing back with our legs to lift the chest. Breathing here, balancing on your belly. If you want to have a little fun here, you can maybe rock forward and backwards a few times. Imagine your knees are bound by a rope or something, so they're not splaying out to the side, but they're keeping hugged in towards each other, and flex your feet. Inhale to rise, and exhale to release back to the mat. We're all going to plant our hands underneath our shoulders here, pushing back into child's pose. You can keep your knees together, or you can keep your big toe mounds together, bring your knees to the outsides of your mat. Either way, reaching your arms long, pressing your forehead, or letting it rest into the mat. Continue to sink your hips towards your heels. Reconnect with your breath. We're slowly going to find our way back into downward dog. And we'll walk our hands back towards our feet. And just bend your knees so that your chest is resting on your knees. Maybe grabbing behind your legs and just let your head hang. Letting gravity do the work here. Maybe squeezing your legs a little bit, making this a self-embrace. Taking a moment to appreciate your glorious, beautiful body, which allows you to navigate the world in whatever necessary ways in which you navigate it. Exhale, start to straighten your knees. You can release your hands, or if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch here, you can keep them bound. We're going to bend the knees, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Coming to standing. We're going to reach our arms above the head, and our right hand is going to clasp the left wrist. And we're just gently going to exhale towards the right, gazing up towards the ceiling, trying to open our chest ever so gently towards the sky. Inhale, holding here. Exhale, coming back through center, left wrist. Grabs the right wrist. As we exhale to stretch over towards the left, our hips moving towards the right. Feeling that stretch in the right side body. Maybe angling our chest ever so gently up towards the sky. Inhale to hold, and exhale, release. We're going to bring our arms into a cactus position or a goalpost position, and just exhale to gently press your hips forward, take a little back bend here. Inhale, reach your arms towards the sky. Exhale, hips forward, little back bend. One more round. Inhale towards the sky. Exhale, a little back bend. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, coming up to a flat back. Exhale, walking out into a high plank position. And you're just going to push directly back into downward dog. And come down to our knees. We can untuck our toes here. And we're just going to sit on our knees. High, our head, crown of our head extending high towards the ceiling or sky above us. Finding that breath again. And we can place our right hand gently on the outside of our head, stretching our right ear to right shoulder, not pulling here, just letting the weight of the hand rest on the head. And we can extend the left arm long, maybe drawing little circles with it, feeling the way that changes the stretch in the neck. Maintaining relaxation in your shoulders, feeling the shoulder blades drop down the back. And switch, gently placing your left hand on the right side of your head, letting the weight of the hand guide your left ear towards your left shoulder. Just letting the weight rest, not pulling. Pressing away with your right hand, maybe drawing little circles. Feeling your shoulders relax, slide down your spine. Inhale, coming back up to center. And we're going to slide our butt towards the left, meeting the floor, sliding our feet out in front of us. Inhale, sitting up tall for staff pose. Exhale, reaching long for our last forward fold of the practice. Maybe within your forward fold, you can experiment with finding cat and cow shapes with your breath. Maybe you can see how it feels to grab your big toes with peace fingers compared to grabbing the balls of your feet or the outsides of your feet or taking a bind of the wrists. And we're going to keep our back nice and rounded here, like we're in that cat position, and slowly roll our back onto the ground, one vertebrae at a time. Letting the hands and feet splay out towards the side. Finding our final resting pose here. So if you need to take any other postures before you're ready for Shavasana, please go ahead and take those now. And if not, go ahead and let your body melt into the earth. Imagine each of your muscles are made of butter. And just feel them start to melt as if the butter was left sitting in the hot sun. First starting to soften, liquefying a little bit around the edges, then all the way to the center, and slowly running, making a little pool, and then just sinking into the earth. Relaxing the space behind your eyes, in between your eyebrows. Relaxing your jaw. Letting your tongue just rest gently behind your teeth. And start to deepen your breath. Feeling it filling up the belly once again. Starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe making circles with each of them. Letting that movement move into your elbows and your knees. And at your own pace, rolling over onto your favorite side. Slowly coming to a sitting position, keeping your eyes gently closed. Place your hands at heart center. Maybe pressing your hands into your sternum, feeling the rise and fall of your chest and the pounding of your own heartbeat. Just take a moment here to reflect on your intention for this practice. To find some things you want to take with you from this place. And to let go of the things that are no longer serving you. finding the courage to leave them here. Remember that no matter where you go or what you do, you are precious, beloved, and beautiful to behold. Namaste.